U.S. and China trade truce. Moments ago, I spoke with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Here's what he said about the deal to postpone tariffs for 90 days.
This is not about making commitments to things, that are pie in the sky over the next 2 or 3 years. Our expectation is there will be specific deliverables, there will be specific timelines, and that we have an agreement that there will be penalties if China does not meet those timelines and those commitments.
And the penalties being what? The tariffs to go back in place?
Tariffs, but without reciprocal tariffs, attacking us.
Joining me right now is the CEO of Siemens, Joe Kaeser. And Joe, it is good to see you this morning.
Hi, Maria.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Nice to catch up once again. You have a huge business in China. This is your second largest market for Siemens. What is your reaction to what's taken place between the U.S. and China and now with this 90-day truce?
Well, I think it goes into the right direction. It's always good to talk to each other and not so much about each other if you look for solutions. So I believe it's the right way, the right direction. We need to now see what is going to come out in direct terms, what exactly, till when, and where the beneficiaries will be. But it's good, so we like it.
The president has already put tariffs on Chinese imports coming into the country, and of course China has retaliated. What kind of an impact has it had on your business?
Well, so far not really much. Honestly, we are very localized. So we have 35,000 people working in China for the local markets, but also local for global. We have more than 60,000 people working here in the United States every day, really hard. It's our biggest market by far, twice as big as China, twice as big as Germany. So we really like if, when the United States and China come to terms on global trade and sort of try to find a level playing field so that the best teams, the best companies are able to win over their customers.
When you went to China initially, were you forced to transfer technology, some of your secrets, to your Chinese counterpart?
No, we were not forced to do that, but as a natural effect, what you see if you localize your business, you have local people join you and help you produce the products, develop the products and solutions. So what you naturally see, it's not so much about stealing IPR. Many people, believe it's stealing IPR and it's all bad. What you really lose the most knowledge from is that if you lose your people, and they go other places, and obviously you cannot brainwash them when they leave the company. So they take the knowledge, the experience of a world-class company with them and apply them in the next job. So that's really what is at stake for the most part. It's not so much about IPR, stealing and things like that.
Very
it's about the turnover of people which you have, and they take the knowledge with them.
And of course, you've got operations all over the world. So I want to get your take on growth. We've got the November jobs report coming out this Friday. Siemens had, you just said, 60,000 employees in the United States.
Yeah.
Over 350,000 globally. What's your take on growth today? Where do you see the most growth for your business across the world?
I mean, obviously, we are in infrastructure business, power generation, infrastructure, automation, industrial software, healthcare, renewable energies. So the pockets of growth in terms of products are with renewables. They are with healthcare, very much into manufacturing automation. I think you talked earlier with Secretary Mnuchin about, what can companies do, to innovate and make their products more attractive. That's what we help them do.
And you've made some changes in terms of the wind power business, obviously, in terms of consolidation, in terms of trying to get growth out of that business.
Well, the renewable energy is the future. Whether we like it or not, climate change happens every day. So therefore, we need to go see how we can make renewable energy also economically feasible, not just a great token for, for CO2 emission. And try to do that, we've been combining companies to be on the forefront of consolidation. And with Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energies, that's the biggest renewable energy company in the world.
What about geographics? I mean, what about the geographies? I mean, we've got 3% growth that we're looking at in the United States. Europe has very much been troubled when you look at what's going on around the uncertainty of Brexit, Italy and their budget issues. Characterize the growth in Europe right now.
In Europe still, has a lot of big opportunities in terms of talking to customers. The political situation really has become quite difficult because Europe, in absence of a joint foreign economic policy, they've been in the middle between the superpower houses of the United States and China. So they're looking east-west, east-west, and are pretty busy with themselves. And that, I believe, needs to be changed. We need to have a unified European foreign economic policy so that there is a unified approach on multilateral and bilateral trade agreements.
Doesn't it just get worse, though, Joe, if we see Britain carry out its exit from the European Union and others perhaps, think about following suit?
Well, I think the question is, I would ask myself, has the political and economic leadership in Europe, taken its responsibility to stand up and show people the way? Or has it just been sitting there and wait till a majority of people have been voting out of the European Union? So I believe what happens in Europe today is a message to the European leadership, both in the political and the economic side, to take on charge and responsibility and bring Europe to where it actually belongs as the third superpower in the world, besides the United States of America and China, and contribute to a better world.
Would you be more poised to expand or build out your businesses in the U.S. because of the stability, or would you be more poised to look elsewhere, perhaps even Europe, despite the troubles?
Well, there are many factors what you look at. First of all, you look at demand. Where does demand happen? And demand typically happens on the customer proximity, not so much in governments. Governments set the framework, and they have been setting quite a good framework here in the United States. And we've been spending more than $40 billion on investment in the last 10 years in this country. We wouldn't do that if we didn't think it's a great place to be at. Mm-hmm. So that's why, the United States of America has always been a great place, great in innovation in terms of software, modern ways of manufacturing. The Internet of Things, should actually start happening here and not in China. China's got 1.3 billion people. You just can't deny that. 1.3 billion people is 1.3 billion times the purchasing power of any other country.
Right.
So that's what we look at, and obviously we look at what the framework what the framework looks like from the governmental side. What the United States has done with a tax reform aiming at creating jobs has been a great thing. It seems it pays off. If tax reforms only come to increase the share buyback of companies, doesn't do any good to society. So that's not really what it should be. It ought to create jobs, and then with creating jobs, it creates growth, and growth creates more tax income to finally compensate for the giveaway. Yep. So that's how we look at it.
All right, we will leave it there. Joe, it's great to have you on the program.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Joe Kaeser is the CEO at Siemens.